When you were doing the morning show at KROY, were you more concerned about audience taste, what they already liked and consumed, or were you more into creating culture?
I think I was more concerned about how I was going to get my ass out of bed at 5 a.m. I hated it. And not only that, I had to sound like I was awake. My sensitivity back then was gut level. I didn't process it too much. I think if you analyze, you paralyze when it comes to entertainment.
That's what's happened in radio.
I think the best entertainers, the Bob Hopes, the Bill Cosbys, all the great entertainers, they're very gut level intuitive. And Elvis, and any good entertainer has to be able to take a vibe of that situation for that moment and give it back to the people who are listening or watching.
Transform it.
Yeah. Otherwise, it isn't entertainment. Right. It is a program. Yeah. It has been pre-produced, and you are being programmed. That's why they call it a program. Pure entertainment is nothing more than spontaneity and maybe some forethought and planning, certainly. But the delivery of that content at the time it's being delivered to the people that it's being delivered to is what it's all about. And that moment will never exist again, and it has never existed prior to that moment. And that's pure entertainment in its rawest form, and you can't package that, you can't contain it, you can't format it, you can't consult it, and you can't do it.
In other words, it's you running the program instead of the program running you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Very well put. That's exactly what it is. You still need the program material. But
and
it doesn't
structure,
have to be,
maybe.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because without structure, everything's maybe too freeform.
Yeah.
And you don't know
where
it is.
Yeah, I mean, what's funny to me, I mean, some of the best stuff I ever did, I had no idea of what it meant. I would just do it, and knowing that it meant something, I didn't have to know what it meant. I didn't have answers to most of the stuff people asked me about. However, everybody who heard it perceived it their own little way, and you know, I had drinks with Paul McCartney one time, and he told me that one of the things that kind of got him was the fact that people all knew what he meant by what he said. None of it was what he really meant.
Really?
So he would run into people, and they would all say, "Paul,"
what, in
on that
interviews
line.
or songs?
Just people.
Okay.
In songs.
Okay.
You know,
Hey
Paul.
Jude.
Yeah, "Hey Jude, man. God, I know exactly what you mean, dude. That was so cool, dude." And not knowing at all what made Paul write that song. And then I asked him, "Well, that's interesting. I'm familiar with all your music. I know what it means to me. What's your biggest challenge then in making music?" And he goes, "Well, I guess that would be that no one's ever really heard what I hear up here. I've never really been able to get out what I hear here on any of my product," which blew me away because, you know, I think what he did was pretty good, and if what he has up there is even better than what he's been able to make available to us, then it must be just amazing. He can't question that. There's no meaning to that. You know, you're born with that image, and the rest of your life you just make prints out of that film and show people. And what do you see in this picture? Because it's my image, but what do you see? So everyone who perceives talent and entertainment should be able to perceive it their own way. That's what makes it special to them. A song that I love, that a buddy of mine may love too, it's two different reasons why we love that song. It may spark the same response from two different individuals, but the processing, the data that makes that right for me and him are different. Even though the person who presented that may not have intended for any of that. It's fascinating. It's magic.
Right. Everybody has their own interpretation of.
Yeah.
How did you hook up this interview with McCartney? Was this at KROY or in Chicago?
It was really weird. I was in LA and I had a weekender. This is so weird. I was a program director, and this dentist kid named Brad Sobel wanted to be a disc jockey. So I go, "All right, I'll put you on weekends and you can work like 3 hours and I'll pay you $1." And he goes, "Okay, cool." So I did that, and he calls me up one day and he goes, "Hey, you got to come down to my studio in Hollywood." I go, "Studio? You got a studio?" He goes, "Oh yeah, my old man bought this apartment complex and I got a flat here, and he bought all my equipment." So I went down there to Brad's. This is my weekend jock, and he's got a freaking 24-track studio with all these Neumann microphones and, you know, like 5,000 square foot flat in Century City. I'm going, Brad, what the hell are you working for me for? He goes, oh, my dad's a dentist. I go, a dentist makes this kind of way? He goes, he's a dentist to all the stars. And I go, oh, cool. So we're in his apartment, me and Julie, my girlfriend from Marysville, that would be down that week. And knock on the door, and he goes, oh, hey, come here. So I walked over with Brad, and he opens up, and it's Paul and Linda. And I couldn't breathe. I took Julie into the next room, and I said, Julie, that's Paul McCartney. And he would go over there a lot and just play, you know, Brad's studio was amazing, and he would go into one of the rooms and just play, Paul would. So after I got myself back together, I went out and go, hi, you know, my real name's Dave, I'm Dave, and he goes, oh, how are you? I go, fine, God, you know, I didn't expect, Brad, why didn't you tell me Paul McCartney was going to be here? And he goes, I didn't know he was going to stop by myself. So we decided to go across the street to the Bank of America building to the top floor to the Iron Gate bar, and we went up there, it's about 10 o'clock at night, and sat there and closed the place, and just sat there and drank rum.
Wow.
Yeah, 6 of us. And, you know, I was so uptight. I'd never been so nervous in my life. I didn't know what to ask Paul McCartney. I mean, what hadn't been asked of him already. So we just conversed.
But you actually made him think, though.
Yeah, I made him think. He thought that was a good question. Wow, what's my most frustrating thing?
So that was 70s, mid-70s.
That was 75.